Y'all got going on today on this Sunday, man? How y'all doing? How's everybody doing, man? Everybody get up in first. What y'all got going on? Hold on. Hold on. Clean this up a little bit. What's happening with y'all, man? How y'all doing today? Sunday fun day. How everybody out there doing? How y'all doing out there, man? Hey, how y'all doing? Let me say y'all something, man. Hold on, turn this down a little bit. Hey, for y'all that don't know, my name is Aaron Real Talk. I do content that's based on estrangement. Thank you guys for going live with me out there. I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you so much. And tonight I wanted to talk to you guys about you're not missing your child. You actually missing who they used to be. Right? Grieving someone who is still alive is a grief like no other. And a lot of parents struggle with this, right? They miss their child. And they think that they missed the child, but you're not missing your child. You miss who they used to be. You're grieving someone who is still alive. It's grief like no other. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight, man. But look, um, anybody that's in here right now, man, y'all leave me a comment. Let me know where you from tonight, man. If y'all got any questions, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, man. But like I say, that's what we're gonna be talking about tonight. You're grieving the version of your child that used to be. You're grieving that version of your child. That person is no longer here. So that's what we deal. That's what we're talking about tonight, right? You're not missing your child. You're missing who they used to be. A lot of parents struggle with that aspect of it, but that's what it is, man. That's what we're talking about tonight. And I want to help you parents out there understand that. Like I say, my name is Aaron Real Talk. We jamming to some music right now. We chilling on Sunday, man. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. We chilling on a Sunday, jamming to some tunes. And, you know, like I said, that's what we're gonna talk about tonight, y'all. Y'all let me know. Grieving a version of your child. That's what we're talking about tonight, man. How y'all doing out there, man? Y'all let me know how you're doing out there. How was your weekend and where you calling from? Y'all let me know. Or even the version that they used to be. Man, y'all ready for this week? Hopefully, it'll be a great week for us, man. So, all right, let's talk about it, man. Like I said, a lot of parents struggle with grieving the version of their child who they thought, they're grieving the relationship that they thought they would have, and they're grieving the version of the child. A lot of parents struggle with that aspect. They miss their child, but they really don't understand you missing a child of someone who has changed. Right? You're still thinking when they little innocent little children, the teenage years, when they're in high school, maybe starting off in college, you missing that version of them. But what a lot of parents don't want to, what they don't want to admit is that version is gone. So that version right now that you've been cut off, and the one that you're going back to yourself and saying, "What happened? When did this start?" That person is already gone. So the person that you're missing is no longer there. And a lot of parents struggle with that aspect of dealing with estrangement. A lot of parents struggle with that. They're still thinking to themselves, like, man, what happened? How did this happen? What happened to my little sweet child? Right? And it's just not the truth of the matter. Right now, what you're dealing with is you're dealing with someone who back in the days was a sweet, innocent person. But that person has molded into a full-fledged adult. And then some of them have went on and got married, got their own families to take care of. So you got to take in consideration all of that. when you're dealing with estrangement, right? It's just not this person that you're dealing with your child. You're dealing with the companionship of a new partner. You know what I mean? So it's a lot to it, man. And I tell parents who struggle with that, they want that old relationship back, and I tell them that old relationship ain't coming back because you ain't the same. They not the same. Everything has changed, right? Everything has changed. So a lot of parents struggle with that aspect of estrangement. But that's what we're gonna talk about tonight, guys. So, like I say, I'm sorry, I'm over trying to play with this YouTube a little bit, man. I ain't used to the YouTube. TikTok is so much different, man. But we're gonna get it. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it do what it do. You know what I mean? We're gonna make it do what it do. But like I tell parents all the time, this is a different type of grief, right? Because there's no funeral, there's no closure, and there's no goodbye. Right. So a lot of times, when you think of grief, you think of parenting and things of that nature. Somebody passes, you grieve through that, but they passed. They've gone on, right? They passed. But when you're grieving someone who is still alive, still going on about their business, they just now do not no longer want you in their life. That's a different type of pain for parents, especially someone who you truly love. You sacrificed, you've done all these things for that child, and now they've gotten to that point to where they're like, you know what? I'm good on this relationship. I'm good. And for us parents, we struggle with that because we still think, and we remember back when they were so innocent and, just good people. And a lot of parents struggle with that because they're looking back like, man, what happened to that person? I'm here to tell y'all tonight that person is gone. That person is no longer here. And as for parents, sooner you start realizing that, and the sooner you start understanding that, the better off you'll be. You know what I mean? But a lot of us parents struggle with that aspect. A lot of us do. You know what I mean? So it's hard. But like I say, grieving someone that's still here, just not here with you, is a pain like no other. You know what I mean? And like I say, man, and nobody talks about the part of the person that you grieve and the person that you love so much, that person is gone. They no longer here. It's like their personality changed, their heart changed, everything changed with them. And you trying to adapt as a parent and trying to figure out how did you get here? When did it start? Did it just start out of the blue? Or was it something that you've been dealing with for a while and it just came to an head? You know what I mean? When did it happen? And then, a lot of us struggle with, we said why acceptance feels like betrayal. Because once we start accepting that the person that we're grieving is no longer here, and we have to realize that we have to start accepting certain situations. And we gotta accept where we at currently. Right? We gotta accept that we are no contact with our adult children. We have to accept that to move on. So that's another part of grief. You gotta accept that they're no longer in your life and why they no longer in your life, right? And for a lot of parents, it's hard for us because you can go back and look at your parenting style, what you've done, things of that nature. And sometimes us parents, we can't go back and say, man, when did it go south, right? Because a lot of us don't know. And a lot of that is because a lot of the estranged children will not even let you know what really happened. They just boggled all that in and just kept moving. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. So, it's hard, man. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. So much of a struggle. And a lot of parents are dealing with it right now. A lot of us are going through it. And we're just trying to get through it. But yeah, it's hard. You know what I mean? It's very hard, you know, because, like I said, when you start accepting it, it feels like betrayal. And this is where it gets hard because accepting who they are now feels like you're giving up on who they used to be. You know what I mean? Accepting who they are now, like you're giving up on who they used to be, right? Be honest. Does acceptance feel like giving up to you? Does acceptance feel like giving up to you? You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know that. But a lot of us struggle too because we replay the past. We replay the past, we replay the good times, we replay how we used to move with them, how we used to do things, enjoy their time, enjoy their conversation. all that. We just replay that. It goes on, and on in our minds. And that's the thing that's why a lot of us can't move forward. Because we'll just sit there in our thoughts and just keep replaying. You know what I mean? And so that's why we struggle with that aspect. You know what I mean? Looking at old pictures, looking at saved text messages you'd had for 2 years ago, right? Just looking at old stuff and just reminiscing on the relationship that you used to have, right? So it's tough, man. It is tough, very much tough. But look, y'all leave me some comments. Let me know if you got any questions. I'll answer them for you guys. Let me know. You know what I mean? But like I say, this is a struggle for a lot of parents dealing with estrangement right now, grieving the version of your child that used to be. Like I say, you're not missing your actual child that you're dealing with now. You're missing the version that they used to be, right? You missing that version. And parents struggle with that. We struggle with that big time. You know what I mean? But you can heal. You can heal, but you got to want to. You have to want to. You have to get to that point to what the old school say. You get sick and tired of being sick and tired. You're getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that's part of it. That's part of it. You know what I mean? At some point, you have to grieve them like they're gone, even though they're still alive. At some point, you have to grieve them like they're gone, even though they're still alive. Because if you don't, you're going to stay stuck loving a memory while being hurt by the reality. And that's just facts. And if you that's just facts. And so many parents get stuck. They stay stuck. They can't move on. They die a lonely life, sad life because of this. Because their heart is broken from dealing with a stranger. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is, man. So it's one of the hardest things to do. Right? It's so one of the hardest things. So I want to ask you guys a question. How long has it been since things changed? How long during the estrangement has it been since things changed? You know what I mean? Let me know that. Then I got another one for y'all, man. Do you remember the exact moment when things started to feel different? Do you remember that? Do you remember that, man? But like I say, y'all, dealing with estrangement and grieving a version of your child who they used to be is one of the hardest things you will ever deal with. Like, it's one of the hardest things you will ever deal with. Tough, totally tough. So, but like I say, guys, my name is Aaron Real Talk. I'm gonna be coming on YouTube doing some lives, man. Join me in the chat. Any questions you may have about estrangement, about my situation, leave me a chat, leave me a message, and I will get back to you. But like I say, any questions you guys have, let me know. Man, y'all make sure y'all enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. Thank you for hopping on with me, man. I appreciate y'all. Thank you.